I keep giving bad people good ideas.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. We're doing another little commentary. And today's video, I'm not gonna try and make it like sound all cliche or like be like this is a really meaningful topic to me. It's kind of like an important topic, you know, because it's kind of more like, I guess, me throwing a little bit of my personal life out there too. But also I kind of want to talk about like what's been helping me and possibly what could help other people if they're kind of like, you know, obviously struggling with the same shit. But at the end of the day, I'm not trying to be like have a pity party or also try and be like cliche and shit. At the end of the day, I'm just some motherfucker on the internet. But pretty much, let's go over today's topic: good ways to help like quit nicotine and shit. Honestly, for me, I have not been like 100% success. Fucking English, holy shit! I have not been 100% successful, but I've definitely improved a lot from where I was at. Definitely, like I would say, at least 3 years ago. Like 3 years ago, I was like nonstop chiefing vapes. Like it was almost to the point where like if I went to like a place where I couldn't have like a vape, like say I had to go like fucking fly or I had to go and do whatever, you know, and I couldn't vape or whatever. It just kind of fucked with me hella. Like I could get through it, but like the anxiety, all that shit that comes with it, the withdrawals, it fucking sucked. But definitely, from where I was at, I've improved a lot, and I'm definitely getting pretty close to where like I can actually, you know, finally, hopefully, bite the bullet soon and just fully quit. But pretty much, let's go over kind of some of the notes and shit I wrote down and shit. And I would say the three main things to kind of help you quit or that you need to focus on while quitting, I would say, is mainly your mindset. Like, why do you really want to quit? And I'll kind of go over that in more detail. Finding healthier distractions, hobbies that like pretty much don't involve nicotine or tobacco. Pretty much just like I said, healthier kind of like um alternatives that won't really, you know, lead to you just being like, oh fuck it, I'll just have a cigarette, oh fuck it, I'll go vape, whatever the fuck your little cope is for it. Because really at the end of the day, nicotine and any really like nicotine addiction or just coping with some kind of shit going on in your life with that stress, depression, whatever the fuck, both of it. Sometimes it's just simply boredom. Like and shit like that. Like sometimes people aren't even like depressed or anything. They're just kind of bored with the shit going on, and they just kind of fucking end up doing shit. So, whatever your reason is, pretty much just like I said, finding healthier kind of little distractions. At least that's what for me. I kind of distract myself from it. Like whenever I do get a craving or whatever, and I notice like weird shit. Like you think like Walker would be like the one place where like I need nicotine the most, and that's how it used to be. Like, but I realized like it was just because I used to work in shitty work environments, and at least with my new job or the current job I have, it's not the perfect job. You know, I want to try to find something better in the future. Or at least something that pays more, but at least it's a healthier work environment. So I realized it's not really my work environment anymore, and I kind of turned it into more of like it in a weird way. It's turned and more easier to not want nicotine while I'm at work because I'm busy working. If that makes sense, my brain's already distracted. So like whenever I do get a craving for nicotine, I just kind of get more focused into my work. So then once the cravings go gone away, or you know it's not on my mind as much, it gets easier to kind of just go through the day without it, if that makes sense. And then again, this is kind of leading to the like finding healthier distractions, but finding alternatives to smoking and setting realistic goals, even if that's setting smaller goals leading to larger ones. So again, a good example is like, say you fucking smoke cigarettes nonstop, maybe switching to vaping, and then once you kind of switch to vaping, you no longer smoke tobacco at all. Tried the nicotine pouches, patches, and stuff like that, and just pretty much try and shrink your nicotine tolerance or your nicotine intake. Because again, realistically, the higher your nicotine tolerance is, the harder it is gonna be English, holy shit. The higher your nicotine tolerance is, or any tolerance to any substance, the harder it's gonna be to quit that substance, especially like nicotine and shit. So the more you lower it, the one time once you actually bite the bullet to fully quit, the lower your nicotine tolerance is and your need for nicotine, the easier it is, if that obviously makes sense. But yeah, let's kind of go a little bit deeper into shit. And I would say pretty much like with your mindset, it could be also the hardest and easiest thing. Kind of like with some of the examples I said, like my mindset at work is kind of easy to not have nicotine because I can have all those distractions throughout the day with like work and shit. And pretty much, also another thing, it could be the hardest because when I'm at home, I could kind of chill, do whatever the fuck I want. So if I do want to be like, oh, fuck it, my phone's going off and shit. If I'm like, oh, fuck it, I want to go get a cigar or whatever, I could go do that. As like, at work, I can't just like walk away from work or whatever the fuck. But, pretty much it's kind of mainly realistically up to you, and only if you ever will or want to quit. And it comes on to like little, like I said, steps and shit. And it's easy to say something, and it can be kind of harder down the road to, and kind of in the heat of the moment to kind of stick with it, especially at quitting smoking like nicotine and shit. But I would say kind of as long as you do the little steps along the way, you kind of will get there. And we'll kind of get like bigger chunks, and you'll kind of see more improvements and shit. But it's kind of like, again, when you're kind of in those heat of the moment, or kind of like, leading down the road, oh, it's been a few hours, fuck, it would be really nice, if you kind of like, stick to yourself, like, stick on yourself a bit more to kind of push yourself a bit more in those moments. And again, you say fuck it, you go like 5 hours without smoking, and then you say fuck it and you finally smoke. But say before you were smoking like every hour, like give yourself at least like a little pat on the back for at least going the 5 hours, or whatever. But then also kind of realize like, okay, like I can't throw a fucking celebration, I'm still fucking smoking and shit. But like, again, acknowledge those little steps, try and improve them, so then go maybe 6 hours or even longer, or at least try to stick to that, but then, at least try and improve from there. And then again, like your environment and can and will play like a role. Like again, like my example with work and shit could be a really good one, but again, it's mainly up to you, like I said, and it's good to seek out like better and look out for like more pure things in life. But again, everything in life isn't good, and it's not like everything's not pure. So pretty much like at the end of the day, like you just kind of gotta suck it up and deal with it at the end of the day. Like an example pretty much would be like, when you're quitting, it's good to be around people that are like, don't smoke. So it lowers your chances of being around it, and your chances of really, being like, fuck it, I'm gonna smoke or whatever. But again, there's a lot of people that do smoke, and a lot of people that just say fuck it, and they're probably never gonna quit. And you're gonna have to be obviously forced around that shit. And it's really easy to be like, oh, can I bum a hit, or can I bum a stove, or whatever the fuck. Or, kind of having it around you can kind of make you what's the word I'm looking for? Cave for it more. and or cave down for it or whatever, you know what I mean. Pretty much kind of like bitch out and kind of, you know, be like, oh fuck it, I'll have it because it's always around you or it's around you and shit. And I would say that's kind of like in those moments is the pretty much the most critical and crucial moments to kind of be like, nah, fuck it, not do that. And I've gotten kind of good at it, but then also sometimes I do have my moments where I'm like kind of, no, I would say I get in the heat of the moment, but it's been a long day, it's been like, you know, like 7 hours. I'm like, fuck it, I'll just have like one little, like, you know, I'll grab a little bit of tobacco, load it onto a bowl of weed, and just kind of have a little moke. And not have too much tobacco, but, you know, get a little buzz. But, even then, I've tried to get better with that and stuff and just try to say fuck it. Just mainly in the mornings and at the very end of the day where it's kind of my, like, with a struggle time where I'm just like, fuck it. Because I think at the end of the day, it's just been so long that I haven't had any. And then in the beginning of the morning and shit, I'm just so fucking groggy in a weird way, too. Since I've been, like, doing nicotine for so long, like, since high school and shit. It's almost like my coffee where it's like I feel so groggy and shitty, and then the second I have, like, even the smallest amount of nicotine, it just kind of, like, my brain's alert again and shit. So it's really weird because also I think, like, I don't know, I guess nicotine's also a depressive, but it's also kind of it's kind of not at the same time. It's really weird. But yeah, no, again, at the end of the day, there's a fucking special word for it, but it's not coming to my fucking head. But, yeah, it's just kind of weird because, nicotine's kind of one of those things where it's like a depressive, but it's also kind of not a depressant. That's what I mean. But yeah, no, those are not the word also. But yeah, it's kind of like a depressant, but also not. So it's kind of weird that, like, you know, in the mornings, so, when I do kind of have a little bit of tobacco, that it does kind of alert me, because also sometimes at the same time I do feel like it just makes me more, like, drowsy and shit. But pretty much, kind of moving on from that, taking baby steps is better than making none at all. And also, you do try and make the biggest steps towards quitting that you can, but a little progress is always better than none. Again, I could get examples like what I said in the beginning of the video. If you're smoking cigarettes, moving to vaping, and then moving to like nicotine pouches and gum and patches, and then like, yes, you're still doing like nicotine, but at least you're doing like lower doses and lowering your tolerance to, like, what I've been saying is like, pretty much down the road it's gonna be a little easier to quit than when your tolerance is hella high and shit. So yeah, no, pretty much, again, that's kind of, I feel like, a big thing with quitting is your tolerance. If your tolerance is really high, it's going to be harder to quit, and especially try and quit cold turkey. But if you have a lower tolerance and you lower your tolerance, try and quit cold turkey, or just try and quit in general is going to be way easier. So I would say definitely that's one of the first steps you want to take. At least for me, that's what I've noticed. That's helped a lot. Because I've tried, like, pretty much, like, when my nicotine tolerance was hella high, just try quit cold turkey and just be like, fuck it. But I always caved. But I realized, again, if I take kind of the baby steps and kind of, like, lower my tolerance, kind of, you know, do nicotine pouches instead, or whatever the fuck, or just kind of, like, you know, go through that time where it's like 5, 7, 8 hours without nicotine or whatever, and then kind of try and increase it every time I go without nicotine, and try to increase that time more and more, and try not always go for like the easy kind of cravings I have like in the morning or at the evening and stuff like that. But pretty much, again, it's kind of all these little baby steps I could kind of combine into one big step or whatever the fuck. But yeah, no, truly, like, quitting is like pretty much, if you do want to quit, like, truly, it should be for yourself, and that you want to, and that it shouldn't be for like a job or someone else. Like, yes, it's good to have things that motivate you, but those things shouldn't be solely the driver unless you're 100% like foundation things in your life, like good family, but like family members and shit. But again, a good example is like, do not like quit for a job because one, you could get fired from that job and then say fuck it and pick it back up. Or two, you could not even get the job in the first place and then see that it's pointless to quit and then just continue. That's kind of what I've seen myself at least since a few times. And I would say again, addictive personalities, especially with nicotine, it's hard to quit, but also it's even harder when you have, like, again, a strong addictive personality. And pretty much reality is you got two choices. You could try and fight it, or you could try and use it to your benefit. And honestly, trying to use it to your benefit and replacing the unhealthy habits with like smoking nicotine with healthier ones, it kind of makes it a little easier because, again, you're not fighting against like how your brain is naturally mapped out. And then two, it's not always bad having an addictive personality. It's just what the addiction is linked to that makes it bad, I feel like. So again, I'm not a fucking scientist, but again, you could kind of walk with that and kind of like, again, I've noticed, at least for me, is like, yeah, smoking isn't good, but also, like, playing a whole bunch of video games isn't good either. But I've noticed, like, when I'm at home, as long as I'm playing a game or something that's, like, kind of entertaining enough to kind of distract me from wanting to go smoke or whatever, it's better than fucking going and smoke in the first place. So, again, like, kind of like shit like that, I feel like. But, again, you could find better shit, like going to the gym and shit like that. But, again, just kind of tying it to, like, my own shit. But finding healthier things to do, I would say, is kind of like the final thing I'm going to kind of bunch this whole video up in. Because I don't know how, it's kind of a bit long. But, yeah, so I only want to make sure it's still fucking going. But, in a lot of cases, pretty much, sometimes, like, a lot of people, like I was saying, like, definitely for me, a lot of people will replace, like, what's bad, like the unhealthy addiction, like if that's smoking, whatever, with something else. So pretty much, it's not always healthy or smart, especially in the world of drugs, like nicotine and stuff. But again, if you find the right thing and it's healthier than what you're doing before, it's at least like, like replacing smoking with maybe, like I was saying, like playing your favorite game or something, or trying to get more involved in that, so you're distracting yourself from smoking. Yes, again, like I said, like playing a fuck ton of games isn't the best for you, and solely, isn't ideal. But again, it's also better than, like, again, I said, smoking and shit. And as time goes on and you become less dependent on smoking, say, like maybe you quit, or you're kind of getting like me, like closer to quitting and shit, you can kind of adjust that as time goes, and you quit. So again, you could be like, oh fuck it, I'm kind of really obsessed in this game, maybe try like maybe go out a bit more or whatever, and try to maybe go fucking hike and shit, and kind of play around with shit as time goes. But again, initially have something that really interests you as your main like little distraction, and then kind of build off that as you kind of you're not smoking and shit, you quit, whatever the fuck your point is at with all of your whole journey of quitting or whatever. But again, this video, I'm not like a fucking therapist or whatever the fuck. I'm not a professional, but hopefully some of the advice I went over is helpful to anyone that is trying to quit, or anything like that. It's been kind of my little guide, or kind of stuff that I found that is kind of helpful. And I would say again, sorry, I just need to get a drink real quick because my throat's so dry from talking. But pretty much at the end of the day, like, I found like good little things that help too. Is like, yeah, finding little distractions and shit, but then also caffeine is like a hell of a drug. Like, again, I know finding like another thing to really help with the bad thing isn't really the best either. But again, this is any age, anyone. If, say, you're in high school and you want to quit nicotine because you're a dumbass and you started vaping with your friends, you realize it was kind of bad and not for you, caffeine will help your ass. Like, again, don't be like that one chick and drink 6 Alanu's a day. But again, if you have one in the morning, maybe one midway through the day, you're going to be fine, and it's going to kind of help you. The caffeine is going to kind of, I don't know, at least for me, I've noticed sugar and caffeine kind of gives me that same, like, it doesn't give me that same effect, but kind of, like, distracts my brain enough a little bit, kind of sort of like nicotine, and kind of, in that sense, like I said, kind of gives me that little bit of that lowness, or kind of, I don't know, I never get too jittery off of caffeine, but, it kind of, like, I don't know, it kind of at least distracts my brain a bit, and I think the science of it, too, it does kind of connect with the similar receptors, or the same receptors that nicotine does. So, again, if you dig into the science of it, it probably is kind of, you know, distracting those receptors, or kind of messing with those receptors, so then you're not craving nicotine as much because you have all this caffeine in your body, so those receptors are happy, or whatever the fuck, I don't know. But I notice caffeine kind of helps me too. Again, if you're in a legal state and the legal age, weed helps a bit. That's kind of what I've been doing a little. But again, mainly if you're any state or any age and you're kind of struggling with nicotine and want to quit, caffeine definitely will help you a bit. Just don't overdo it, obviously, and die from it. But again, yeah, I would kind of wrap up the video here, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry it's long as shit, but I hope it helped someone out that, you know, might need some help with some shit like this. But and if not, hope you guys kind of enjoyed getting to know a little bit more about me and my fucking issue with nicotine, I guess, or whatever the fuck. But I don't know. Solely, I kind of hope this video does help someone out. But besides, I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye, guys.